Shalom, first and foremost, I give our praise and honor and glory to you all, Bashim Yoshai, Bashim Kakadash. I want to give double honor to the elders and our pastor, Great Millstone, who will and teach our sound doctrine and peace and blessings to your elect. Now, as you can see, we have an article here, Biometric to replace stamps at EU border. No. I remember seeing this on I already seen this on Instagram or TikTok first. I think I seen on Instagram. I think I seen it on TikTok first. Then I seen it on Instagram. And then I searched up the article because I was seeing it in quite a few places. And the first thing I thought of when I first seen the article, the first thing I thought of was our roads lead to Marcus. Our roads lead to Marcus. Because this, biometric, something that you scan, biometric checks in Salaki. Biometric, so it could be like a card, and I speak as a man, or it could be something like QR code or something that you scan at the borders. Now this is starting on a small scale of the EU. So you may have, of course, everything starts on a small scale depending on the direction the Lord has this going. You could have other nations look and say, oh, this seems like an efficient way to basically control borders and control how many people are coming in. Seems like a more futuristic way, as they call it, to control this kind of thing instead of having a paper thing. So let's follow in their footsteps. And then that's where you get the boiling frog theory from. So a lot of these people are gonna be caught like that. So it's because Israel deals with gradualism. You boil up, for example, you have a pot of boiling water, and you choose to throw a frog in there. The frog is gonna understand that something is wrong and is being cooked, for example. But if you put a frog in, say, cold or lukewarm water, and you gradually turn up the heat, over a period of time, the frog isn't gonna realize it's being boiled alive until it's too late. Ever saying on the islands, your salt, which is another way of saying unfortunate. A lot of these people, they're gonna, cause Israel has a lot of these people don't have sense. Just like I was talking to a colleague about this actually, social media. When this social media goes down, cause you're already seeing signs of what will happen when TikTok went down, and also you're seeing little signs of it. You've seen little signs of how easily people can break just from the lockdown, for example. A lot of them, they couldn't. A lot of people, they couldn't manage it. They resort, especially females. They resorted to cutting their hair. They resorted to doing really all kind of things, and that's why the scripture says, though it tear, wait. Let me get that scripture. Habakkuk 2:3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak, and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. And that's basically saying it's gonna happen, it's not going to delay. When it comes, it's gonna come. And that's why a lot of these people think everything is smooth sailing, so there's nothing to worry about. And you're always supposed to be on your guard. You're always supposed to be watching. Now, of course, we get up to other things in the meantime. We have, brothers may have different stuff going on in the meantime, but you can't let that distract you. You have to make sure you're on your post. You have to make sure that you're watching. Because, man, as Jeremiah 30:6, Jacob's trouble is going to be nothing to play about with. And all these things that are happening now, they're just the beginning. They're leading to Jacob's trouble. And that's where the scripture said, a man shall desire to go into a city and not be able to. I believe that's in 1 first asterisk, if I'm not mistaken. Also, like, yeah, second asterisk. Second asterisk, 15 and 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to. Because, for example, for example, they turn around and say, oh, you not got your QR code, so unfortunately, we can't let you through this border, because for everybody to be given access to our country, you have to comply with the rules, and you have to have a QR code. And unfortunately, since just like that, so because if you don't adhere to the legislation, then in other words, you can't have access to the country. And a lot of people traveling, of course, like, the getaways and stuff, especially in the EU, for people, especially over here in the UK, that's gonna mess about with them. No, of course, it's not saying all that. No, it's just saying they're gonna change it to a biometric. But we know we know which direction things are ultimately gonna go in, but we don't know how the Lord is gonna put it in that particular situation, and we don't know when. Only the Father, only the Father alone will know the exact time, the exact time for everything. But anyway, let's read. The entry/exit system (EES) will replace the current paper checks, and will mean passengers from the UK will need to have fingerprint and face scan to cross an EU border. So like I was saying that I was saying that they probably have to have a QR code or some kind of card that they may have. But here they say it, fingerprint and face. The scheme will be rolled out across member nations over 6 months, meaning it will not be fully implemented until April the 10th, 2026. It was due to come into effect last November, but has been beset by technological delays. And you're seeing the jump in technological advancements in recent times has been incredible, as they say. It's been, some people may say unreal, but it's been, I don't know, people would say mind-boggling, especially the growth of this whole AI. Under the new system, non-EU citizens, including people from the UK, will need to register their biometric data along with their passport details to enter an EU country. Now, the only thing I'm familiar with when it comes down to this is, of course, to get to the, as I said, to get to, for example, flying from England to Jamaica, you would have to fill out a C5 form, which is an immigration form, so that they can, it's a, I want to say it's a way of tracking or a way of seeing who's coming in and out of the country. But this they're scanning your face and scanning your fingerprint. That is a step further. So we don't, of course, ESA are gonna come out and say, and give say something nice with it, but we already know that ESA has malicious intentions behind everything. I could say a whole bunch of stuff. I could say a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm just gonna go with what's in the article for now. I get a few scriptures and close it out. Under the new system, hold on. Anyone who refuses to provide the biometric data will be denied entry into the EU. So in other words, as I just said, in other words, if you don't want to comply, because there'll be, of course there'll be people that be like, no, I don't like this new system, etc., etc. I don't want to give my fingerprint. So imagine though, they may, someone may be on the run. Someone may be on the run from doing the criminal activities, and imagine they scan your fingerprint and they scan your face. Oh, this is a wanted person. just giving one example. So they have the ability to store your face, your fingerprint, to essentially to store your data. And this is a different thing to what I have personally seen before, and this is something that is going to be rolled out, they're saying, next year. So of course we just have to see the direction the Lord takes us in, because the whole, the scanning, that's another way of desensitizing you. So that way when you scan your hand, oh, well, I guess we've been scanning our faces and they've been taking our fingerprints. So the average person will be more desensitized to it. Whereas if they just started to scan the hand, the average person may have been looking at it funny. Currently, travelers have to present their passport to a border official to be checked and stamped. The data will be collected at the point of departure, either at an airport, port, and a port would be ship, like cruise ship, or a train station, where there will be a dedicated booth for scanning fingerprints and taking a photo. This record will then be valid for 3 years, meaning on later trips, border officials will only need to verify a person's biometrics, which the EU hosts will take less time. People with e-passport able to use e-gaze. There is no cost for EES registration. For most tourists, of course, certain people, they may have fake passports, etc., etc. But if they have a picture and they have your fingerprint on the file, and you try to use a fake passport, then they got your cook right there, because they have your record, so they will know that's you. You can't just turn around and say, oh, I'm a twin, because 9 times out of 10, right, a fake passport will not be your twin's passport, Data will be collected at the point of departure, either at an airport, port, or train station, where there be a dedicated, well, I've already read this bit. This record will then be valid for 3 years, and means on later trips, border officials will only need to verify a person's biometric, which the EU hosts will take less time. As I said, convenience. There has to be a reason for them doing this. But we know that the Lord can have this, we know that this can ultimately go into a different direction, although it may not seem malicious at face value. We know that Esau is crafty, and we know the times that we're currently living in. So the scripture says, don't be ignorant of any matter, both small or great. For most tourists, digital records will only be held for over 3 years and a day, but those who overstay the 90-day limit without a visa will have their data held for 5 years. So you see, they can hold your data. The system aims to tighten border security, but has raised concerns of long queues. The UK government has warned travelers to be prepared to wait during busy times when the scheme begins, as the checks will take several minutes to complete. However, the EU have says that once implemented, the EES will shorten waits at the border by enabling faster checks and allowing passengers to provide their information. Since the UK left the EU, airports at many popular European holiday destinations have been seeing long queues of British travelers, as their passports have been required checking and stamping. There have also been long queues at Eurotunnel, and the new system sparks concern that the waiting times for people traveling to and from France by vehicle would only be exacerbated by the new system. Passengers will be given handheld devices to register their cars, whilst French border checks have been implemented on British soil at the port of Dover. The Eurotunnel's Folkestone at the end of the Eurostar St. Pancras Terminal, and that's the St. Pancras Terminal. That's the international underground underground train system in London. You know, you have to show you have to show, of course it's abroad, you have to show your passport and stuff when you reach. In May, the UK and EU struck a deal which allowed for UK nationals to use EU e-gates, but only after the EES is introduced. Once the EES is in place, UK nationals would therefore be able to use e-gates where they are available, provided they are registered in the available system. Provided they are registered in the system. An EU commission spokesperson told BBC at the time. Some European countries, including Germany and Bulgaria, already allow e-gate access for UK citizens. That's the end of the article. But as I says, I just thought it was worth, doing a video on this. Although it may seem like something small, you never know the direction that something may go in. But anyway, I want to give our praises and then glory to Yahweh, Bashim Yoshai, Bashim Kakadash. Until next time, Shalom.